Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
There we go. Hello, very good afternoon to you, and welcome to the Locker Room for the European Special tonight. It's an early kickoff tonight between Fenerbahçe and Rangers, 5:45 kickoff. And I'm joined tonight by Reagan and Robbie. How you doing, that guys?
Doing well, eh? Look forward. First of all, my God, just wanted to pay tribute to the Rangers support over in Turkey that lost his life this morning. Very sad to hear.
Yeah, and obviously we like to pass on the condolences to the family and friends. But when I sent it to the group chat, I didn't realise that you were a friend of the family, Reagan, as well. So condolences to you as well.
I know the guys. They stay in my local area, and I know the family well. So yeah, it's a shame. No one should go to the football and not come home. So yeah, it's a shame to the family. And then I know there's a GoFundMe page as well, Michael, that people are doing things for as well.
Yeah, no, it's always not nice to hear Robin and the eve of a big game. A big game for Rangers as well, but they've lost one of their fans.
Yeah, as Reagan said there, thoughts and prayers obviously go to family and friends affected by this situation. As he said as well, no one should ever go to a game of football and an away trip especially, and never no return home. So, thoughts and prayers go to everybody affected.
Yeah, no, exactly. Before we got stuck into the game and speak about because Mourinho didn't really know about come on, even though he was kicking everybody on. That was like funny actually. We'll get the team news, and I think Reagan's got the team news for
I
tonight.
have Butland Tavernier, John Suter's back for Rangers fans. Proper's played as well. Jeffy, Ridvan Yilmaz, Raskin, Barron, Diamandi, Cherny, and Dessers. The subs Rangers are Tom Lawrence, Bidrami, Enciala, Sterling, Balogun, Igamani, Hadji, Rice, Curtis, McCausland, and Danilo. I'll just go through that Rangers team again. It's Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper, Jeffy, Ridvan, Raskin, Barron, Diamandi, Cherny, and Dessers.
What do you think of that team, Robbie? Any surprises apart from obviously John Suter's back in the squad for Rangers, but anybody else?
I think having that many defenders on the pitch, I think means Barry Ferguson's a bit more inclined to play defensively in this game. I don't know if he's going to go with the back five or just maybe play Yefty at left wing. But obviously we'll need to see how that shapes up when the game kicks off. But I think it does surprise me how many defenders he's playing in this game. Obviously it's good. Suter's back for Rangers fans. They'll love having him back in the starting 11. He's a crucial player. But having that Ridvan and Yefty pick sort of confused me a wee bit when I seen the lineup there. So it's definitely an interesting one.
I think it's probably too defensive, Robbie. You say to your opponents, right, all you need to do is break us down. They've not got really any attacking players on there apart from Cherny and Dessers.
Yeah, and you look at the way Fenerbahçe have set up their team. I mean, you look at players like Tadic, Kostic, Dzeko. Obviously, Fred couldn't play because he's suspended. That's a very attacking Fenerbahçe lineup. That's a lot of good quality. So Rangers are going to probably struggle here for quite large periods of this game.
Have you got the team there for Fenerbahçe, Robbie? Can you give us it? If you've got it in hand?
Yeah, if you want, I could just run through the start 11 quickly. The goal, I might mess up some of the pronunciations here, but the goalkeeper is Egril Bayat in goals. A back three are Martin Skriniar, Carlos Sayuncu and Akalek, Amrabat and Muladur are your two wing backs. In the midfield, it is Szymanski, Kostic and Tadic in at number 10. And the front two is Edin Dzeko and En-Nesyri for Feyenoord. On the bench, Livakovic, Chechen, Daichu, Yandas, Tograk, St. Maximin, Talisca, Tosin and Kabil.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that back four, Robbie, that was a back four that played in the Premier League last year. You look at players like Martin Skriniar. That's the guy that's played in the Champions League matches for PSG, for Inter Milan, even for European matches for Slovakia as well. So I think if you're Rangers, it's not the most. I wouldn't say you ultimately feed it too much, but there's players in there that are very good players. And then you spoke about Dzeko and Tadic. I mean, it's okay saying those guys are over the hill, but I'm sure Rangers fans would take Dzeko and Tadic at the moment. And Dzeko and Tadic know where their goal is, especially Tadic. I mean, you look at Tadic a few years ago, that's the guy that got Ajax to the semi final against Spurs in 2019.
Yeah, and I mean, even to go deeper into Fenerbahce's lineup, you look at the bench and you look at St. Maximin. I mean, that is a Premier League quality player in there. The work he done for Newcastle was superb.
Yeah, I mean, just to give people a bit of an insight into St. Maximin, because that's a guy that played really well in the Premier League for Newcastle, and then he moved over for mega bucks. I think I'm right in saying, Robbie, to Saudi Arabia. So this is not a guy that's just here to pick up his money. This is a guy that's here to contribute. And I was listening to Mourinho yesterday. I don't know if you heard it, Michael, but he's talking about when he went to the Scottish pubs and larks with Craig Brown, and he got a sparkling water.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I thought that was pretty funny. That's really. I think there was a lot of headlines of his press conference as well, Robbie. I don't know if you saw it as well. Obviously, he spoke about Clement, even though he didn't know who he was. But 10 minutes later, he said, "No, Barry Ferguson. They need to do their talking on the park," because he was saying that. I can't remember the word that he used, but basically he says that you should do your talking on the park. And Philip Clement spent a lot of time speaking, bumming his team up and all that, and it was pretty funny. But I suppose that was the special one, having a dig.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny for Jose. I mean, anybody that knows me knows Mourinho's probably one of my favourite ever managers. I love him. The way he speaks, the way he manages, he's just a perfect manager. But I did think he had a bit of a dig at Clement when I first listened to it. It was interesting to hear him speak about potentially managing in the Scottish League one day as well. Obviously, he never really shut it down. I think, Jose Mourinho's a man of passion. He loves the way clubs are run. So, I mean, we could potentially see him in a couple of years after Fenerbahce, maybe move into the Scottish League.
I don't know if there's any decent nights out in Paisley, Robbie, for him going to St Mirren, is there?
Well, I'm sure me and Jose could come to some agreement about a night out.
I mean, McDonald's is shut down now in Paisley, so like that's kind of like keyboard scraps. It likes McDonald's.
Taking me roasters for rolling sausage. Do you know roasters, Robbie?
I think so. I think so.
And the kebab as well. But so I thought that was pretty funny. Reagan watching
the Turkish kebabs might be good. So I don't think you'd prefer a Scottish kebab over a Turkish kebab enough.
Right now, but I think they have at the beginning of the night out where we have it like at 5 a.m, and you actually eat the bag as well. I don't know where I've heard that from. I've just heard it from some. I think we need to move on now. In case I get into soapy water. But yeah, it was funny watching Mourinho's press conference yesterday, Robbie, talking about the game as well, and like but Reagan was saying it was nice of him to say that he'd done his coats and badges and largs years ago.
I mean, Mourinho knows. I know, obviously, I had a bit of a laugh and a joke in the press conference, but he'll know how difficult this tie can truly be. You know, Rangers aren't going to make it easy for them. We know how it seems like Ferguson's went very defensive minded for this game, which I don't know if that's just his decision or the full backroom team have probably said, look, we need to try and stein this guy, get back to Ibrox. But he knows how tough a game it's going to be. It'll not be easy to break Rangers down. They play well in Europe. And I think Mourinho will know it'll probably be a tough game. I'm sure Mourinho will probably be excited to get back out in the touchline. Obviously, we know he's serving that current suspension off the field in the league, so he'll be ready to go in this game as well.
Yeah, Reagan, I was listening to Barry Ferguson last night. He dug his press conference about 6 o'clock last night. He said they're a good team and we're under no illusions. It's going to be a very tough game, so we need to be at it from the first whistle. And I think if the Rangers team that turned up against Queen's Park and St Mirren over the past couple of weeks, then they'll be in for a tough night.
I mean, in terms of what Rangers can offer, I mean, it's just my view. I'd like to get you and Robbie's view on it. But I think they've been too defensive, but I think they are in for a tough night. But I just think overall, I think it's too defensive. I don't know if Barry Ferguson's learning over from his predecessor, Walter Smith, from being in like Europe and trying to get over a tie. But hopefully Rangers can attack more. But yeah, I just find it a little bit too defensive if you ask me.
Regan, I'd agree with that. I think if you look at the likes of Hadji and Igaman, I cannot believe he's not opted for one of them, or potentially, playing Yefty at left wing or left wing back, depending on the sort of formation Rangers scoot with. So I do agree. I think it is a very defensive-minded lineup, but I suppose Ferguson will be looking at the standpoint that you can never be too safe in this type of game. They're going away to Turkey where the crowd will be right up for this game. So I can almost see why he's went defensively, but again, it's not really what we're used to seeing with Rangers.
Yeah, I think a big thing for Barry as well, like Robbie just said a minute ago, very well put in terms of, I think the most important thing for Barry Ferguson is when we come on here at 8 o'clock tonight, Michael, is Rangers are still in the tie. Because Robbie, I think the big thing for Jose Mourinho, I think he'll want to get this tie done very early.
I think so. I mean, look, I know Mourinho said about excited to come to Glasgow to play at a stadium like Ibrox, but inside he'll be going, I want to come to this game knowing that we're already through, because if they come, then on you go.
No, I'm just going to say, Robbie, I think you're spot on there.
I think if Fenerbahçe go away and Rangers are still in the game at Ibrox, and his job becomes 10 times harder. There's already pressure on Fenerbahçe and Mourinho. If you look at their season, they're still sitting behind Galatasaray right now. The fans aren't happy with that. I know last season, I believe they lost the league by 3 points, so they will want success this season, whether it's in the Europa League or in the league. So they know how big this game is for them as well.
Yeah, I was looking at the table last night, doing a bit of research, and they're 5 points behind Galatasaray. Galatasaray drew 3-3 the weekend, so Fenerbahçe are now 5 points behind, which obviously Josie will be thinking, are Rangers capable? But I think overall, I think this is a match that Rangers can win if they can stay in the tie.
Yeah, I think this is a very winnable match for Rangers. I don't think it's out of the picture. We get it in the league. Results haven't been good enough, and in the cups as well. They're obviously out of everything domestically. So this is really last shot for Ferguson and Rangers to get it in this season. Look, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they're going to win the Europa League, because that might be a wee bit too far stretch. But they'll certainly want to get through a tie against a Fenerbahçe team, which, absolutely no disrespect to Mourinho or the players, but they will probably come up against harder teams later on in the tournament if they can advance. So I think for Rangers, this is big to get through this. But listen, for Fenerbahçe, as Regan was saying there, considering how far they are behind Galatasaray, they'll be looking to try and get through in this tie as well.
Yeah, no. Do you think it helps Rangers a wee bit? Obviously, when we watched Celtic in the Champions League, I was saying that it would be best for the Scottish team to be away first. obviously the opposite happened for Celtic. They were home first, and the second game was away, and they were minutes taken away. Bayern Munich to the extra time. And listen, if Bayern Munich beat Celtic in extra time, but it was still a big achievement for Celtic. Maybe like 2 seconds away, but do you think that works in Rangers' favour a wee bit in terms of like the first game is away from home?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, you look at Celtic and, you know, the way they play against Bayern in the first leg, it made the task a lot harder knowing the result after the first leg, where, you know, they had to go to Germany and go at Bayern Munich. Whereas if Rangers go here, they can put in a good performance. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be all defensive for Rangers. I'm sure they will have attacking qualities for the likes of Diomande and Czerny and stuff like that. But if they can keep a result here going back to Ibrox, you know, no matter how bad Rangers are doing on a European night against Fenerbahçe, the crowd's going to be up for it, and I'm pretty sure the players will be as well. Obviously, we've spoken here multiple times. That's the biggest problem with Rangers squad. The now is they don't seem to be able to get up for it domestically. But in a Europa League tie where they need to lay everything on the pitch, I'm sure they'll be fine, and I'm sure every player will be up for this game.
I know that we were speaking in the show in the past couple of weeks, and like the first part of the season, one of the players that impressed me was Czerny. But I don't know, Robbie. But since I suppose you can make a case for a lot of Rangers players at the moment aren't playing well, but Czerny has really went off the boil, and that was a man that was scoring for fun every week for Rangers.
Yeah, I think maybe the reason is I think Czerny's maybe just getting to the point now where, you know, I'm not trying to say it's just you know, a one-man team with Czerny, but I think I sort of mentioned it to you in a show before, Michael, that if you look at a goalkeeper and then you look at a back four, if the goalkeeper's low in confidence, the back four's going to struggle, and if the back four are low in confidence, the keeper will struggle. And right now for Rangers, that both of them are seriously low in confidence. Neither of them seem to have the ability to be able to play confidently, so they are struggling, which ultimately makes the attacking end of the park harder for the attackers as well. You know, if the likes of Tavernier and Suter and Yilmaz can't get the ball up to the wingers, then the goal becomes harder for them. But look, Czerny, I think, you know, if you ask any Rangers fan, pick a, you know, your player that you'd like to keep going into next season, I think majority would pick Czerny if, you know, he could get back to the club. He has had a very good season. You know, eyes went after the boy a wee bit, but you know, I think the whole Rangers team sort of went after the boy a wee bit. You know, look at some of the results earlier in the season before, you know, likes of the Queen's Park, Motherwell, St Mirren games, and they were getting on all right. And I think Czerny was as well, but I think the whole team's knocked on confidence, and that's maybe why he's not stepping up to the plate so much right now.
I think going into this game, Reagan, that the Rangers fans are just happy that that's going European football. But as Robbie was saying there, that the forum that they go on with, you know, that I don't I can't remember the last time they won a home game. Rangers, that was it you know, but it wouldn't be the form that the Rangers fans would want to go into a big European game, Reagan.
No, but the good thing for Rangers next week is that they know that that this game's massive, because 3 weeks later they've got the Celtic game, so they've got a massive week. And I'm going to be a bit controversial here, but you would say the Fenerbahçe game for Barry and for the players, the Fenerbahçe game is more important because they're 16 points behind. So if Rangers even get a draw against Celtic, they're still 16 points behind. So the most important match for me, it has to be that Rangers go to Ibrox next week and get the victory and have some Turkish delight. Because I think for me, the most important thing for Rangers, of course, always every season, is the fact that they beat Celtic. But this season, this season it's not, because they're so far behind with nine matches to go. But I'm just interested, guys. I think the biggest result tonight for me, for Rangers, would be a 1-1 draw or some sort of draw. Robbie, I don't know if you agree, because I think I think that's. I don't mean to be negative again, but I think with the squad selection that Ferguson's picked from that starting 11, he's kind of shown his hand here. He's shown his hand that he's happy for a draw, I would say.
Yeah, no, look, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think your point, first of all, on this being a big game for Rangers, I think I'd agree with you. You nailed the nail on the head there. I think that if Rangers don't win this game and they're going to Ibrox in a losing position, especially by more than one goal, if it comes to that, I think Fenerbahçe will score goals in this game. They're a really clinical team, so I don't suspect it'll be a 0-0, but I think if Rangers were to go into the home leg next week on a losing note and really low in confidence, and then they lost at home or didn't win, I mean, the game against Celtic becomes so irrelevant to the point where you're almost betting on a Celtic win because Rangers would just be so low in confidence that no matter what they're doing, they just can't get a result. I mean, look, I think you're right in the sense that the Celtic game, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because every old firm matters to fans. You want the bragging rights. That's why when Rangers beat Celtic 3-0 at Ibrox, it was such a good day for them, even in the bad times they were having, because they could celebrate the fact that they've just, and I think every Celtic fan would agree that Rangers didn't just win that, they dismantled Celtic that game. I thought Rangers were superb on the day. So I think, Reagan, you're right. I think although they want the bragging rights at the Old Firm, I think this game becomes number one priority for Rangers.
The only ones that are looking forward to that Rangers game is Sky Sports and TNT Sports because they're selling the match and they've got the crowds back. I don't think anybody else is really involved. I think because if you look at it from a Rangers point of view, Rangers are not going to win the league, so they're only on a hiding to nothing. And then I would say as well, Robbie, and I hope Barry gets the job because I like him, right? But I would say as well that I think if Barry Ferguson manages to do well in Europe, then that might put him in a position where he could potentially get the job on a full time basis. But I think even if he beats if he beats Celtic or he draws with Celtic, then that probably still doesn't do anything because they're still 13 points behind or whatever. But I think if he was to do well in Europe, then that would improve his stock no end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this match is like that for Ferguson. Do you think, just to ask you, do you think Ferguson knows that he needs to win this game if he wants any chance of getting the job? Because I think you're right. I think if Rangers were to get knocked out, even the night, if the scoreline was that bad that there was no turn around at Ibrox, you still think Ferguson will look at it and go, I can get the job?
Well, I listened to his brother, Derek, talk on a Rangers podcast the other day, and he's saying that if he thinks if Barry gets to the final, it was on the panel. It was Derek Ferguson, Charlie Miller, and David Tanner, and they were talking about the fact that if they felt as if Barry got to the final, Robbie, that he would be in contention for the manager. But it'd be interesting, like what you think, Michael, because I think the other thing with Barry as well is Barry's the kind of Steven Gerrard thing that I spoke about a few weeks ago, but he's the kind of guy that leads from the front. You have people like Billy Dodds and Neil McCann are the people that are coaching.
I mean, a skull scanned by, and I was thinking to Andy during the week about this as well, that a skull scanned by that the season's over for Rangers, right? Even if they beat Fenerbahçe over the two games, and that's a big if the way that they're playing at the moment. But I think the reason why they brought Barry Ferguson and Neil McCann and McGregor and Billy Dogs is to win back over the fans. But as we know that football fans aren't stupid, they're not putting the wool over their eyes as well. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right because like if Ferguson does get a decent performance tonight and takes him back to Ibrox next week, you never know what's going to happen. But also as well, don't forget, guys, that Celtic have still got to go to Ibrox as well. So, like, if they pick up a point next week against Celtic and then goes to Ibrox, albeit it's a different game now because away fans are allowed in the park. You never know what will happen, but I mean, we always speak about the European games, Reagan, and the Celtic Rangers games, but it's a game in between as well, because I bet you, Robbie, if we asked you, like, if we spoke about rates of Reagan was saying there about if Barry Ferguson beat Rangers twice, are you not really a bit annoyed? Because I mean that's it. Mirren went to Ibrox a few weeks ago and beat the Rangers, but what I'm saying is, Celtic and Rangers fans only look at the game at Ibrox and Parkhead, but they don't look against the game against Hearts and St Johnstone and St Mirren and all that. You know what I mean? Where they can kind of like drop points. So it's not about Celtic and Rangers playing each other every week. It's about the team that they play out with, like the kind of like derby games as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's spot on there. Like, if you look at Rangers and Celtic season, there's two very clearly, two clear differences between the two. Celtic can break down a St Johnstone low block or a Ross County low block or whether it be us. They came to Paisley and done it, just there. They can come, and when times are getting rough and, it's a nitty-gritty, they can get results at the games. Rangers can't go away to these grounds and get results, and they can't do it at home either. The nerves of the home crowd being so against them, it makes them nervous, and they're dropping points at home as well. So that's the big difference. If you go to a Celtic game, I've not been to Celtic Park, but you guys have many times, and you will know that the crowd are right behind Celtic, and they get right behind the players for the kick-off. Right now at Rangers, that's not the case at Ibrox. You're seeing the fans that are booing and no getting behind the players. It's a very clear difference at both sets of stadiums. So I think that is the big clear difference, that Rangers can beat these teams like St Johnstone and Ross County and St Mirren and stuff like that, whereas Celtic can go and get the business done.
Reagan, I just feel as though that I know that you were talking about Barry Ferguson, and I know that that's what the Rangers fans, soon as the fixture risks comes out at the beginning of next season, say the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, when do we play Celtic and whereabouts?" And Hearts and Hibs will be the same, and I'm sure St Mirren and Morton. If they won the same league, they will be looking for the derby game. But it's like a case of like, it's all right saying you're playing Rangers in a few weeks, but you've got to win the games in between that, Reagan. It's all right saying that, oh yeah, we're dying to meet Rangers and we're dying to beat Celtic and all the rest of it, but you still got to beat St Mirren, you still got to beat Kilmarnock, you know what I mean?
As Robbie will know, St Mirren have beat Rangers back to back, and they have 6 points right there. That's 6 points that Rangers could be closer to Celtic. Motherwell took 4 points in the last two games against Rangers. You got a 3-3 draw for a part that should have been a win there, so basically they made a mistake of the Jack Butland OG, and then you've obviously got Motherwell going to Ibrox and winning 2-1 last week. And I don't know if you heard Andy Halliday talking, Robbie, but he was very complimentary of the new manager in Motherwell, and he said, "I was so surprised the amount of domination that we had in the Rangers game on Saturday, and if Rangers get any chance tonight, they need to be do well on the ball, and they need to be compact as well and make it hard for the opposition."
Yeah, just on Halliday's point, I mean, I was surprised as well with how easy it looked for Motherwell. That's what I think I love about, these different type of managers coming in, like every man. That's no disrespectful to, the local managers. Like, I don't want to keep getting it Goodwin. I feel like I make fun of Goodwin every time on this show, but he's one that when he was with us and we played Rangers and Celtic, you know exactly what you were going to get. It was going to be a very defensive-minded lineup, and it was going to be direct play, trying to hit the teams on the counter-attack, whereas you look at Avima will tell the players, get the ball down and play football. There's two very clear differences, I think. that's why I'm so for these type of managers coming into the league, because they make it hard for Rangers and Celtic.
I mean, Michael, I don't know about you, but I was looking forward to getting Jim on the show, but I think Robbie's ruined that chance.
I know exactly. Obviously, we're looking for a sponsor at the moment, so like, yeah, I might phone Jim up and see if he's got any sponsor deals that he can give us, and maybe we can get him on the show before the end of the season.
If you go off the list, David Martindale, Leanne Crichton, and Jim Goodwin.
Yeah, but we're doing well, aren't we?
I know it's a bit off topic, but I don't know if any of you actually heard David Martindale speak after the Livingston game. I thought he was very vocal and being a fan of the way the championship's run and how competitive it is. I thought that was quite good to hear.
Robbie, I was a big fan of trying to expand the league during the lockdowns and that. I was a big fan of hopefully we would come out of the lockdowns, the league would be expanded, and then we would be in for a better league, because I don't know about you, Robbie, but although like everybody said it's great to play Celtic and Rangers and that, and it's great to play like for opposition players to go there, but to go there 4 times a season, I mean, that's why people like Brendan Rodgers and people before him, like Steven Gerrard, that's why they get fed up with Scottish football, because they're playing St Mirren 4 times a season, they're playing Celtic 4 times a season, and no disrespect, but it's not got the same appetite. Of course, the Celtic Rangers games are a great derby, but if you're playing it 4 times a season, it can become a bit boring.
Just to quickly make a point, obviously we don't want to go too down a rabbit hole. We do that quite a lot on this show, but I look at the photo from games, and Sky want as much money as possible, and yes, Rangers and Celtic games will give them a lot of money. Could you imagine though, they expanded the league and we had maybe 6 derbies in the top flight? We could have St Mirren, Morton, we could have Ayr, Kelly. Obviously, you've got the old from Edinburgh derby, Dundee derby, all in the same league. I mean, Sky will love that. That would be so many more games that they could televise, so many more big games that they can make some decent money for. So I get that they love, the sort of 4 films a season, but just imagine they had the others as well, at least twice a season.
Even Ayr versus Kilmarnock would be good, Robbie.
Yeah, be very good in the top flight. I don't know the last time we've seen the Ayr Kilmarnock in the top flight.
By the way, nobody's mentioned Ross County against Inverness. Good saying, but no, I mean, going back to the game, I will get out the rabbit hole. By the way, rabbits are nice and a lot of animals are available. But yeah, I mean, Robbie, do you think that, see, like, I know it's a big if for now, but like, see, in the way like that Rangers has been playing for weeks, but do you think that if Rangers gets beat maybe 2-1 or whatever and puts up a decent show, then the Rangers fans will be, I'm not saying you're happy when you get beat, but I'm taking into consideration that the way that they've been playing the last few weeks.
Yeah, if Rangers could, at 2-1, if they lost the game 2-1, they'd still be in the tie game by Ibrox, which is the most important thing. They don't have one goal after taking extra time. So I think any result here that isn't a hammering, Rangers fans will be happy with. I mean, I think Graham said it in the comments. I mean, this Fenerbahçe team, I think 18 games unbeaten in all competitions. So it's a team that knows how to win games. I did manage to see the highlights when I was doing my research against Antlaspo, the last game they won at 3-0. I think the big thing, that I don't think anybody's mentioned yet, is how dangerous they are for set pieces. I think the first goal comes for a set piece, actually a corner. They've got Martin Skriniar and then you've got Soyuncu, who are 2 very big defenders that are well experienced. That this is the type of threat that Rangers are going to try and deal with.
And that was even something that one of Michael's media colleagues, Andy Newport, mentioned on Saturday at the press conference. He said that basically he asked Barry the question, is the Rangers squad too small? I think that was a very good point. That if you look at the squad this season, you've got Conor Barron, you've got Raskin, you've got really small players, Redvan. All of these people are very small.
Yeah, I think somebody like, a John Souttar might have his work cut out for him tonight, not just defensively overall, but in terms of marking the likes of Skriniar and Soyuncu and free kicks, because I look at, so you play a pair of Souttar with Skriniar or Soyuncu, but then who's going to mark the other one? Because who else in that squad is big enough to mark one of the other ones out of the game?
I was just going to say, guys, that obviously Rangers fans would be delighted that John Souttar's back in the squad, but do you think it's a big do you think it's a big kind of like question mark over his name by putting him in a kind of big high profile game, but a kind of hostile atmosphere? Because I mean, we saw what happened to kind of like Jack Butland when his first game was against Man United, was it? And Rangers were minutes away or even seconds away from getting a point, and well, I don't have to tell you what happened. That's kind of Jack Butland kind of sold the goal lined up. But do you think that's a risk for putting John Souttar into the squad, Robbie, or do you think Barry Ferguson and the fans will be happy to see him back?
I think you needed to put Souttar in the lineup. To be honest, I don't think you could play Nsiala with his confidence right now. I think that would be too big for him. Considering he's still a very young player as well, and I didn't really ever see him putting. Obviously Tavernier's been playing in centre half the last few weeks. I didn't really see that. That I think that was the other option. He either brought somebody like Souttar or Balogun back in. I think Balogun's still, a bit knocked to know. So it was either bring Souttar in, I moved Tavernier into centre back and played with John Sterling, which I don't think Rangers fans would have wanted. So I think this is the right choice for Rangers, but I'm still very cautious of how defensive minded Rangers seem to be playing this match. I know we said it at the top of the show, but it is very defensive. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to play the back four or if he's going to drop Yilmaz into centre half or Tav into centre half and play maybe Yilmaz out on the right and then play Yefty at left wing back. I don't know how that might work.
I think it'll also be interesting to see how Jose Mourinho approaches it, because as much as Philippe Clement said he was very defensive, I do expect Fenerbahçe to kind of dominate the ball, Robbie, and attack in the play.
Yeah, I think Fenerbahçe will probably have made of the ball over the 90, but I think the big thing for Rangers especially is what they can do with the ball rather than what Fenerbahçe. Rangers will start the game and go to Fenerbahçe, right, you come and break us down. But that's all well and good then that, it's like teams like us that do that when we play Rangers, but now Rangers need to go and hit them on the break and go, right, what can we throw at them? Because it's all well and good, being solid defensively, but you need to get at them, and players like Cherny and Diamandi need to show what they're capable. And the big thing, we've not even touched on yet, is Dessers needs to be able to hit the back of the net in this game. The big thing we've said with Dessers is he gets multiple chances a game, and that's why he scores so many goals. See, in a game like this, he's not going to have many chances. He'll maybe get 2 or 3 if he's lucky, and he needs to be able to take one of them to try and get Rangers a goal.
And I think the big thing for Rangers as well is to stay in the game, Robbie, because if they got goal down early, it's all about Barry and the coaching staff. They need to try and compose the players to say, look, this is what you need to do. Because if Rangers lose a goal early, I'm kind of worried for that team that they could just fold, that they could fold, to be honest, because they almost folded against Motherwell, and Fenerbahçe is a totally different level.
Aye, well, we've seen in the last few weeks Rangers have made a pretty bad habit of going 2-0 down very early doors in games. They can't afford to do that this time. If Rangers go 2-0 down early on here, the tie could be looking like it's over already. With how clinical, like Edin Dzeko, he's a big experienced striker. If Rangers don't, get a hold of him and, mark him at the game, this could be danger bells already. I mean, it's just such an experienced attack. For Fenerbahçe, there's so many subs that could come on and change the game as well. I know we spoke about him earlier, but St Maximin's the big one for me. If he comes off the bench, he will cause Rangers a lot of problems with his pace. But we see what Daizen Maeda does against Tavernier in an old firm. Could you imagine what somebody like St Maximin would do with his pace up against Tavernier?
Yeah, I know it's a tantalising prospect, Robbie, because as I said earlier, St Maximin's a player that is a top level player, and I tell you something, it's actually very good to see that Turkish football is investing, and it's something that Scottish football needs to do. I mean, look at the players that they've got. They've got Sam Maximan that played in Saudi Arabia, so he'll not be on a tidy wage. And I was actually looking on yesterday about how much money Jose Mourinho gets as a salary in Turkey. £10 million a year he gets, Robbie.
That is, that's probably for our league, that's unheard of, and money-wise in our league. It really does show the levels even between the Turkish league and the Scottish league. And again, that's no disrespect to our league. I do believe we are very good, but Fenerbahçe and the Galatasarays of the world are just on a completely different level for us. You see it. You just need to compare man for man in that Fenerbahçe team to Rangers, and you look at the quality of players. Skriniar is a guy that's carried a nation basically and played very well in a lot of big teams, so he knows what he's doing at the back. You've got Dusan Tadic in the midfield, who's been very, very experienced, a big part of Ajax, obviously. Then you've got guys like Ines and Dzeko up front that can cause teams problems. So man for man, that is a very, very good Fenerbahçe team. They'll even bringing in the likes of Kostic, who's another winger that is very, very good. Been good for, I think, Frankfurt for a number of years. So that is a very, very, very good Fenerbahçe team. If I'm Rangers, I'm looking at that. And for a season where the defence has probably been the weakest part of Rangers, you really need your defenders to step up in this game.
But why is it right? So that basically that's why Barry Ferguson's here and Clamont's out of a job. But why is that, Regan? I mean, Rangers always turn up to big games. I'm not saying that they will do anything tonight because obviously, I mean, Fenerbahçe is like a step up from Man United, maybe like 2 or 3 steps up from Man United. But why is that? Rangers can turn up to European games, but they can't do it domestically against I'll just use Robbie's team as an example, St Mirren's, like Johnson, teams like that.
I think it's because they know that the spotlight's on them. If they're playing against Motherwell, they know that all they're going to play against is people watching on Rangers TV or watching on sports and whatever. But they know that everybody's watching this, so it's showcased all around Europe, all around the world, stuff like that. They know that they can potentially get a move to a bigger nation. No disrespect to our league again, because I absolutely love it. I think it's great. We've got a good product, but I'm thinking for these foreign players like the Chernies, Diamandis, Raskins. I think these are the players that are potentially looking at what could potentially be, even while being at Rangers. I think they're potentially looking at their exit plans of where they can go. I mean, there was an article just about 4 or 5 months ago about Raskin saying that his dream ultimately is to join Chelsea.
I just Regan, just to add on to your point there, I'd also argue that you look at the players like Cherny, who's previously had minutes in the Bundesliga, where it is a very open league. No many teams are going to play like St Johnstone or Ross County, where they're going to drop so back and go, right, you need to come break us down type of thing. That the low block's the big word that gets flung around for Rangers. That's the big problem as well for Rangers. Yes, players will look and they'll know they can get moves away if they perform well in these games. But see, when it comes to domestic football and playing the likes of Queen's Park and St Mirren and Motherwell, they don't know how to break down a low block. They've never had to do that in any other league they've played in. It's always been a very open game. Both teams can attack at each other. When you play in Scotland and you're away at McDermott Park or you're away at Dingwall, they don't. I feel like some players have maybe been shocked into not knowing how to break these type of teams down.
See how they, on your point, like you may get their own Reagan about Barry Ferguson, and it would be good for him to get the job, and I'm sure that if you gave him a choice, he would bite your hand off because he's a Rangers man and all the rest of it, right? But see, when you look at Barry Ferguson's in a no-win situation there because he can't buy players, he can't bring young players into the squad. He can only work with the squad that he's got, and I'm still convinced. Gonna ask Andy this after the game as well, and I know what Andy will say because I spoke to him in the week about this. But I know like the board came in. The board gave Ferguson the job as a crowd pleaser for the fans as well, but also as well. Is that not to get the board? Is that not to get the fans off the boards back a wee bit?
I think it is, and I think as well the fact that the club's been through so much turmoil. Maybe they've got a new face in. I don't know. I was looking at the Rangers social media on YouTube a couple of days ago, and I don't know, Rob, if you noticed it, but there was a lot of videos of their training, and the players look a lot happier and stuff like that. And it's just about the club trying to put out very good sound bites for the supporters.
Yeah, I think so. I was just trying to win this support over. I'd also, ask you guys, like, you look at this appointment, to me it feels like the board have gone for the easy option. Now, we know Rangers financial struggles, and I get that, but in a time where Rangers board's almost going to sell over the majority ownership to the obviously the 49ers, this to me screams like a deal that they've made to get the crowd over to their side for one last time, but also they've picked the easier option because they know in 6 months when the season's over, they're not going to need to try and pick a new manager. They know that this was going to be the easy appointment that they could just bring in for 4 or 5 guys that know the club well for the last few months of the season, but then know that they don't need to make the hard decision of whether one, Barry Ferguson and his coaching team will stay for their own, or two, picking a brand new manager to join the club. To me, it just seems they've sort of taken the easy choice.
I think that's a very good point, Robbie, because I don't think the Rangers board at the moment, Dave King, Patrick Stewart, the new guy that's come in, Douglas Park, I don't think they're particularly, I don't think they want to be there, but I think when the 49ers come in, I think they will pick a manager. But also there should be a contingency plan there for a club, because we don't know how long this 49ers takeover is going to take, to be honest with you. So I think it just screams of Rangers at the moment have got no plan, and they're just trying to think about how can we get season tickets for, because I know season tickets go on sale for both Rangers and Celtic in April. So I think it's just a case of Rangers Football Club are thinking, how can we win over the fans for the last 10 games of the season? But then they were thinking about getting about Clermont trying to be there. But I think I don't know about you, Robbie, but I think it would have been very, very awkward for Clermont to be in charge tonight against Jose Mourinho, because he would have been so fired up.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. If Clermont was in charge for this, I don't think this would be the lineup if it was Clermont in charge, to be honest. I don't think he would have picked Yilmaz and Yefte. I think he would have went a bit more attacking, because we know Clermont, give him some praise. It feels like all we've been doing is criticising the man in the last few weeks, but to give him some praise, he knew how to handle a team in Europe. He certainly knew how to get the players up for that. So it would have been very interesting, obviously the battle between him and Mourinho. But I think there probably would have been words no matter what the result was after the game as well. I feel like that was something that was going to carry on for into the next leg as well. But no, like, we've got Ferguson. I mean, just on your point, I mean, at what point does it become, the 49ers come in, Rangers end up hiring a Ted Lasso type coach that's never coached football before, somebody for basketball or something. I think that would be good and funny with Rangers fans, but no, like, they need to be right up for this game tonight. There can be no slip-ups. If Rangers go 2-0 down again, like they've made a habit in the last few weeks, there could be really, really bad warning signs for Rangers already.
I think as well, when we talk about these games, Robbie, and I say every week on the show, so should be a new feature on the show every week, but the teams in Europe, especially Celtic and Rangers, and obviously Hearts at the early point this season, went to European games and, take the game in stages, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, get to half time. And I think that's the way Rangers should approach the game, because I don't think they can afford to go gun-ho, from the first whistle, because you would get eaten alive over there. So I think Rangers, and I think that's why Rangers has been very kind of like defensive tonight.
Yeah, but I think there's also a way to approach a game where you're not being too defensive, yet you can still take it in stages. I think Reagan was spot on earlier. This is a very defensive-minded Rangers team where they're going to probably, the stages are probably going to be they defend, they get, 1 or 2 chances, 1 or 2 big chances, and then they're going to be defending for basically the whole game. if they put maybe a Hadji or a Bajrami on that left-hand side, the game becomes a lot more interesting instantly. You look at that and you go, right, okay, Rangers will probably try and open this game up and, try and go down the wings, because that is a Fenerbahçe team that, if you watch Kostic and Mulder, they're very attacking wing-backs. They're no defensive at all, especially Kostic. He's a very attacking-minded player. So Rangers had a chance to go at this back three tonight. My worry is they're not going to do that, and Cherny is sort of going to be stranded up next to Dessers, and they're not going to be able to get the ball moving down the wings.
Michael, I'm just going to jump in there and give the Rangers supporters the lineup for tonight again. If they didn't join us at 4:45, it's Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper, Jeffrey, Red Van Yilmaz, Raskin, Barron, Diamande, Cherny, and Dessers. And the bench is Tom Lawrence, Bajrami, Enciala, McCausland, Rice, Curtis, and Danilo. And the last one is Hadji.
See, when you're reading the team out there, Reagan, something just occurred to me, Robbie, and we haven't spoke about much about Ross McCausland as well. And I'm sure, Reagan, I can't remember what game it was, but we done a show after one of the European games at Ibrox.
He scored against Malmo. That's how good my memory is. He scored against Malmo when Rangers won the first European game this season.
No, it wasn't this season. It was last season at Ibrox. And the day after, I think Rangers gave him a new deal. But I was going to say to you guys, do you think Ross McCausland would be feeling hard done by, because he's Rangers fans built him up to be this wonder kid, and he could still be a wonder kid, but we haven't saw the best of him because he came on that night. I can't remember the game it was at Ibrox. He signed a new deal, and every time Robbie Reagan, he's always on the bench or he's always injured. He's not kind of like a starter.
I think he would be disappointed with his trajectory, because this time last year, Robbie, he was sort of a guy that would be on more often. But I think that this season, Clement's sort of brought in a lot more wide players. But if you look at the start of the season, when even Hadji wasn't playing, and he tended to play like Cherny or people like that. But I think that the big thing that I think that McCausland has to do as well, he has to become more of a threat to the score.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I think another big thing for McCausland, and I look at somebody like Nico Raskin, who's, over the year grew tremendously physical wise. I think that's always been McCausland's biggest problem. I'm not saying, not every player needs to be really physical, but if you watch McCausland last season when he was getting on, I remember he got on a few minutes a few times against us. He's just not physical enough. I don't think, there's been under physical, and then there's been, over. And I think he's a bit under right now. It's something he can work on. He's still a very young, talented player. I think you're right though. I think he does need to influence that scoreline a wee bit more in games, and creating chances.
I was just going to ask you, Robbie, Michael, see in terms of that bench then, guys. Like, if I just go over the bench again, the bench is Tom Lawrence, Bajrami, Igaman, Sterling, Balogun, McCausland, Rice, Curtis, Danilo, and McCausland. Who's the kind of players there that you think would be on the pitch in the second half to affect the match for you?
You're probably looking at somebody like maybe Hamza Agaman to come on and affect the game. But he's no had the same effect that he maybe had a few weeks ago, but he is a player that can come on, and if you give him a chance, he can score. I feel like that's the biggest difference between him and Dessers. Dessers will miss chances. We criticise him for that all the time, but he does score goals. Whereas Igaman's a very clinical striker. He can come on, and you give him one chance or two chances, and he will score. But look, I mean, you look at players like Finlay Curtis, and I doubt he might get on tonight. I really doubt he'll get on, but there's got to be a reason he's on the bench. Ferguson's got to look at him and go, right, we're going to put you there because we trust that you can go in and make an impact. There's no point in having Bailey Rice or Finlay Curtis on the bench if you're never going to bring them on. There will be game scenarios where you can get these guys on.
Obviously, you watched the press conference yesterday. They might go back. Be interesting to ask Robbie. Do you think that Hadji will get a new contract? Because he was talking about yesterday to the media, Robbie, that basically he wasn't sure about his future. He wasn't sure that Rangers were going to offer him a new contract. But would you offer Hadji a new contract, or would you say, no, put that in the bin?
I think Hadji's a very good player. I think Rangers would likely, be allowed to be worried about his injury record. That's proven that a big factor in the past. So I think they'd be wary of offering Hadji a new contract, but there definitely is a player in there that can come on and cause an impact in a team. He's a player that Hadji's always going to be one that's highly reputational because his dad, obviously, how good a player he was. So instantly pressure falls on his shoulders. But I don't think he's been terrible since he joined Rangers. I just think injuries are a big factor in why he maybe can't get a run the starting 11.
Okay, so that's the Fenerbahçe Rangers game kicking off in about a few minutes' time. Thanks to Robbie, thanks to Reagan.
Just
thanks
before we go, have you guys got a prediction? Because I'll go 3-1 to Fenerbahçe for me. I just think they'll be too strong. What about you, Robbie?
I really don't want to say my prediction because I love backing the Scottish teams, but I think Fenerbahçe win 4-0 tonight.
And for me, I will say 3-0 to Fenerbahçe, even though we were trying to make a case for Rangers there. But anyway, so that's our predictions. We'll be back on at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks to Robbie.
And of course, Michael, we predicted the Rangers will get beat, but hopefully we come on here and Rangers will win 4-0 instead of going beat.
Exactly. So thanks to everybody that watched the show. We'll be back at 8 o'clock and we'll be joined by Andy. And he will give us Rangers' tinted view on the game. And so we'll be back at 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the game.
The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live